Buying a vehicle in the Wabash Valley has never been so easy. Just point, click, and take your pick at DorsetAutomotive.com. New or pre-owned, you call the shots. Go ahead and give it a try. Point, click, and take your pick now at DorsetAutomotive.com.
Debbie Antonelli, and I'm pleased to be joined by the Sycamores head coach Joey Wells and Joy Marshall. Coach, this is a new look team. 7 seniors gone, 7 new players in. Same principles and philosophy, though, I'm assuming, but how are you going to play?
We hope to be able to score a lot more points than we have in the past, which will make you happy, I know.
You know that's going to make me happy. I
was worried about the hot seat today because of your offense, but I feel a lot more comfortable with the players we brought in being a lot more multidimensional than we had last year.
Joey, I'm on a crusade on the offensive side of the ball, and I already talked to Joy about it. So Joy's got the offense covered for you, right, Joy?
Yes.
We know Coach is a defensive coach in principle, but talk about your offense and what you're going to add to the system this year.
Well, I hope to just be a role player wherever my team needs me. If they need me to grab offensive rebounds, if they need me to drive, they need me to, dribble out, pass it, look for the open shot, look for the extra shot, whatever they need me to do to help us be successful. If somebody's hot, make sure, we keep getting them the ball. So be unselfish and be more about the team.
Do you feel like your guys are starting to get in rhythm when you've had so many new players come in and you're one of the veteran players on the squad? How do you make sure that everyone stays in rhythm and keeps up with pace on the offensive end?
I just keep reminding them that this is new. Like, don't get discouraged. We all been through it. Keep going. You miss a shot, keep shooting it. Keep shooting it. Don't, it's going to fall. And we just try to keep everything positive so everybody, will be on the same page.
Joey, I love your path because you've coached at every level and you've worked your way up to a head coaching position at the Division I level. Along your journey and your path, what were some of the most challenging things that propelled you to continue to climb?
Obviously, the recruiting is what started off. We all know as coaches, we like to think we're brilliant, but we're only as good as our players are.
Really?
I believe that.
Joy,
and
what do you think? You think that's right? He's brilliant, right? Playing time on the line.
Yeah.
So the recruiting, moving from the men's side over to the women's side and making sure I make the right connections and then just continue to work hard. I learned that at a young age, not only from my father, but as I grew up, I had an opportunity to work for some great coaches as I developed. And I took a little bit from each of them and I didn't try to be somebody else. I grabbed what I felt could work for me and I put it all together.
What was one of the great lessons that you learned from your dad as a coach?
The biggest one was if you don't put in the time, you're never going to get the results you want. And don't cry about it.
Is that something that you've heard before, Joy?
Yeah, most definitely. Even he emphasizes, putting extra shots up, doing the little things because you can't just turn it on in a game. You need to, practice. Don't let just practice be your practice. If you want to be a great player, you have to put in your own time. So, yeah.
Joey, with the new rules coming in on the women's side, there's opportunity for more situational offense, ATOs and slobs and blobs and all that.
Yes.
How many plays do you have on your iPad right now?
I actually have a bunch, and it has to get a lot more narrower. One of the great things, though, is I have a wonderful staff, and one is Josh Keister, who will be in charge of a lot of our offensive situational things.
What are some of the things that you're looking forward to most? The thing for me is advancing the ball in the last minute, I think, is very exciting. How do you teach that in practice when players aren't used to not advancing the ball on a rebound or a steal?
I think for us, it's going to be the coaches. I think the situation's going to come down to, you're going to hear coaches yelling it before the other team's even shooting the basketball and making sure they're aware, the officials are aware whether it's a free throw and or ball's being taken out from the sideline. All right, this thing goes in, we're calling the timeout. Because we just want them to play right now. We don't want them to have to worry about, okay, if I get a rebound, what am I going to do? Because that's where the travels might happen or the miscommunications might happen. So I'm going to put it more on us as a staff to make sure that timeouts gets called rather than our players.
Joy, I know Coach could tell me a couple of players that have really stood out in preseason, but the player's perspective is somewhat different at times. Who, for you guys, of the new players, has really step forward or it's been a surprise in practice, like you got to keep your eye on this person?
Definitely look out for Jennifer Makoviak. She's our freshman point guard. She's really catching on. She's a sponge. She's always working hard, and she's one of the players that you have to keep on and we need you. You're gonna help us this year. We always try to keep it positive with everybody. And junior transfer, actually Taya, she's good. She's gonna be a depth in our guard position, and she can play a little bit of the 3 and the 4. So.
Jennifer, not to be confused with Jessica, her twin sister, right? That might be good on the scouting report, maybe. When you start breaking down areas of the game that you think that your team needed to improve upon from last year to this year, and with recruiting, you try to fill some of those holes.
Yes.
What are some of the areas that you feel like have significantly improved for your program?
Shooting, obviously, that was one of the things that I felt we defended good enough that we should have won more games, but we couldn't get over the hump, and there was too many people you didn't have to guard, on the other end. So it was like playing 3-on-5 sometimes, which hurt our post game. The other thing that I think was our players were more one-dimensional. They could either shoot it, but they couldn't put it on the floor, or they could shoot it, but couldn't put it on the floor. And so in recruiting, I think we have players that can play multiple positions, and we can go inside and out with multiple players. Our post players can step out, so you have to extend out the defense, whether it's the man or the zone, and we can put more athletes inside the box.
Joey, you've experienced winning at a high level in the non-conference in the past. Last year, 10-2 in the non-conference, I believe, and a big win over St. John's. How important is it in the Valley for scheduling in the non-conference and getting those wins if you schedule them?
It's huge. At the beginning, you have to make sure, and what I've tried to do, knowing we were going to have a lot of new players coming in, is you can't lose your team early. You take a couple losses that you shouldn't take, or it gets too tough for them. They start talking and get divided. But to be able to get all conference, Missouri Valley, where we want to get to in terms of 2 teams to the NCAA tournament, and get our reputation back to where it was in the past, you have to schedule and beat teams on the road, not just at home, but you got to be able to go on the road and do that.
Very quickly, with 5 teams getting a first place vote, how exciting will Hoops in the Heartland be at the end of the year for the tournament?
Oh, it's going to be great. There's a lot of teams bringing back a lot of experience, and that doesn't even show some of the recruiting classes that other schools had. Players that coaches aren't even seen before. It's going to be really fun. There's going to be a lot of great games. It's going to come down to a lot of 1-2 possession games, which will look great on ESPN3.
Yeah, this is an exciting time of year. You like your team right now, right?
Yes.
You like your teammates right now, right?
Yes.
It's all good in the Missouri Valley as we get ready to tip it off here in a few weeks. But this is the Missouri Valley preseason tip-off show. We've checked out the Indiana State Sycamores. We've got more coming up on ESPN3 on Valley Hoops. Stick around. The next segment will be something that you will not want to miss.